Howdy everybody and welcome back to the workshop. Now in today's episode we will be finishing up our twisters. We'll be finishing the Integral Hunter, getting that nice and cleaned up and put the handle on, making it look super cool. Now unfortunately, if you guys saw the last episode, the buoy is no good. We have some pretty bad delaminations running through the length of the blade. The forge welds of the multi-bar twists did not take, and we actually ended up losing a part of our ricasso right there. So this piece is just going to be turned into some recycled parts or something. Now I will be test etching it when I go to etch this bad boy, just to show you guys the pattern. I think it's really cool and I absolutely love it. So this one was a huge bummer, but we live and we learn. So let's go to hand sand.
For the initial hand sand, I just take the blade up to a low 320 grit, just so when I go to put on the handle, if any dings or scratches happen to hit the blade, it'll be very easy to sand out.
Alrighty, so we went ahead and got both these bad boys test etched, and here's that pattern. You can see the herringbone forming there. I really love this pattern, and I am super bummed that it didn't work out. I will definitely be revisiting the Turkish twist in the future on some other knife build or project that I undertake. But yeah, so that's this pattern here. Now the pattern on the Hunter turned out really good as well. As you can see, it almost looks like an explosion. It's got those little X's, almost star-like features along the blade, which I'm super excited about. Now that is not the final etch and finish. I will be taking it up to 600 or 800 grit, depending on how I'm feeling, and we'll do a full 20-minute etch cycle into the ferric chloride, and then we'll go into some coffee to really darken up that 1080 steel. Now with it etched and everything's sanded pretty cool, it's time to move on to our handle. Now for our handle material, we'll be using this piece of desert ironwood and a black G10 spacer that'll go in between the bolster and the ironwood. So we can go ahead and start cracking on the handle.
Starting off on the bandsaw, I'm just ripping the block in half. There's a lot of excess material that I do not need, and I will be saving for later projects down the road because this wood is super cool. I do cut the G10 on the bandsaw and then hop over to the mill and mill off all four sides just to make sure that I have a square piece that I can reference to in order to mill out a nice square hole. I want this piece of G10 to be a very tight fit on the tang and fit flush against the bolster. After I mill out the hole, it's time to knock down those corners and get everything squared up, making sure that it fits, periodically checking it on the blade so I can get a perfect fit up against the bolster.
We got the G10 fitting nice and snug against the bolster. I'm pretty happy with that. It's nice and flat. Now we can go ahead and drill our hole into the ironwood. I will be putting a pin through the handle and the tang, so we're going to have to go ahead and draw back the hardness of the tang so we can actually be able to drill through it. Alrighty, with that we can go ahead and drill our hole.
With the hole through my tang, it's time for me to work on the hole in the ironwood. I use a series of files in order to get a snug fit. Now I don't have any broaches. I might make some here in the future, so I just have to use filing until I work my way up to a perfect fit. Once I have that perfect fit, it's time to drill our pinhole through the ironwood and get that pin set.
with the hole drilled through the tang and the block, went ahead and got a stainless steel pin. The fit up is pretty decent. Now there is a slight problem. The hole wasn't as perfect as I thought. There's a little bit of a wiggle on the bolster. It doesn't have quite a perfect fit up as I would like. So what we're going to go ahead and do is shave off some material from the top of the handle block, and then we'll take a thin sheet of stainless steel sheet metal. We'll go ahead and get that cut out, drilled, and then get that filed in order to fit everything up, and that should take out the spacing. Now with that done and everything fitting up beautifully, we can go ahead and hop over on the grinder and start hogging off some material.
Huge shout out to my girlfriend Holly. She is an upcoming tattoo artist, so let me know down in the comments what you guys think of her work. But on a more serious note, we're just hogging off the handle material, getting a rough profile shaped in, and then we work on getting our facets roughed in so they line up with our bolster, making sure everything is crisp and clean. Once that's done, we move over to hand sanding the handle. I just take it to a rough 150 grit finish just to make sure all our facets are in line and everything has a clean, smooth transition. After that's done, it's time to hop over and work on our finish hand sanding on the blade. I end up taking it to 1000 grit just so the pattern will really pop and you'll get a nice luster out of it.
So with the blade nice and hand sanded up, we can go ahead and do our final etch on the blade. So we'll clean it up with some acetone. I recently started using acetone. It's been doing a great job at getting all the grease and everything, all the residue off the blade, giving me some nice clean etches. So I think I might switch over to acetone from here on out instead of just a spray degreaser. You can use whatever you'd like. Dawn dish soap works as well to clean your blades. So yeah, use whatever you so choose. So in the acid we go. Now we'll leave that in here for a solid 20 minutes to get a full etch cycle, and we will come back then. Alrighty, it's been exactly 20 minutes of me standing here twiddling my thumbs, but we can go ahead and take it out of the acid. So with it out of the acid, we can go ahead and neutralize it with some Windex here. And now with that neutralized, we can go inside, get some instant coffee mixed up, a very dark, thick coffee mixture, and we'll let that sit for 8 hours, let it set overnight, and I will see you in 8 hours. Now, it's been a full 8 hours in the coffee, and as you guys can see here, it is looking absolutely stunning. So, with the etch complete, it is now time to get this bad boy wrapped up and get our handle epoxied on.
The preparation I took for this epoxy fit up was very lackluster, and I'm not sure if there was just dust on the table or if there was just some moisture buildup in the garage, but the tape did not want to stick down. So it kept moving around while I was trying to take the epoxy off of it and put it on my piece. Just made for a super sketchy epoxy fit up. I also had some trouble fitting up the pin, but with a few love taps, got that bad boy secured and fit up perfectly.
Now that was probably one of the sketchiest handle fit ups I think I've ever done. A lot was going wrong, but I think we are okay. It fits up pretty nice, and things seem to be alright. Just was a little weird there for a second. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and let this sit for 24 hours, and I will see you then.
With the epoxy fully cured, it's time for some more hand sanding. I start out at the 150 just to double check all my lines and get the facets nice and profiled, and then I take it all the way up to 1500 grit, just really giving it a nice shine and a very smooth finish. After the hand sanding is complete, we can finish it off with some beeswax and linseed oil, and boy does this handle really shine. I love the effect that the linseed oil and beeswax brings out of the handle.
Alrighty guys, so with the handle nice and polished up, I went ahead and threw my maker's mark on there and got this bad boy razor sharp. It's got a hair popping edge on it. It's probably one of the sharpest knives I've made thus far. Definitely one of the coolest. For sure my favorite. This one's going to be hard to let go, but I absolutely am just tickled with the pattern and how it looks, and the handle accenting the pattern is just, I'm speechless. I'm just super happy with how this turned out, and I want to thank you guys for coming along this journey with me and getting to learn everything as I did. Thus far, we had a lot of ups and downs, but that's okay. In the end, it all worked out for this bad boy. Now, I will be trying that Turkish twist again in the near future. I'm not sure, might redo the buoy or make something else out of the Turkish twist, because I definitely love that pattern. But that's going to do it for this series. Again, thank you guys for following along, and don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on my future videos. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, that's pretty good.